What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Starting a new project today. It's actually later in the evening and I've been working down in my basement a good amount, sort of getting ready for this project. If you'll notice, right now it doesn't look super different from other times when I've come down here and used my little my little cool sign poster corner as a backdrop for filming something. But what does look different is there's now a workbench in this area. And there is no longer a workbench here. I used to have basically a large L coming this way and then a short leg of the L going that way. And now it's just one big straight bench over there in the corner. My wife actually asked me today if I had been thinking about doing this before she suggested doing it a few weeks ago, and I don't think I had, so we're gonna give her the credit. She just thought, and I agree with her now, especially seeing it in place, that having it all up against this wall here, it just makes the basement feel significantly more open and more spacious than it did before. You may or may not be able to actually appreciate that on camera, and I know it's still messy, still got a drum set down here and, you know, some stuff to finish cleaning up, but it's all tucked away in the corner instead of kind of really cutting into this middle of the room. And I needed to create some space and just sort of do some general cleanup in here because we have to have our HVAC systems replaced here coming up this fall, and we're gonna have to tear out this entire ceiling to do that, to rerun trunk lines and stuff up here. We're gonna do a whole new system, top to bottom, everything about this system, and the ductwork is all really old. We have just a lot of issues with it. There is ductwork in this soffit right here, so trying to just kind of free up the middle of the room in preparation for doing that later this fall. But today's project we'll be starting on today is something just more, basically more stuff like this, more artwork for the walls, some for down here, some for up in the main house. So I've acquired over the years a lot of cool posters, not a lot, a handful of posters and things that need to go in frames. And picture frames are expensive. And I've always felt like I could make my own picture frames for less than it would cost to buy them, especially for some of the bigger posters that I have. The glass company that does all of our shower doors and a lot of stuff for us at work actually hooked me up and gave me, that's the biggest one. There's more behind it, but they gave me a bunch of glass that is sized for the first batch of things that I'm going to make picture frames for. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you a couple of those. Then I'm not gonna be getting into the actual fabrication of them tonight. That will of course be what this video is about, but I'm not gonna get into them tonight. This is just sort of intro to what we got going on. So I've got this old poster from many years ago when I did World War II reenacting. Believe it or not, that is actually me right there at the National D-Day Memorial in Bedford, Virginia. That was, I mean, I was probably 17 or 18, or yeah, 18, somewhere in that picture. Somewhere around there. I have this poster kind of covering some of the 29th Infantry Division's basically their journey across Europe during World War II. And then I found this cool painting in an antique store up in Pennsylvania, I think last year. It was painted in 1974, and it's again covering the 29th Infantry Division. So when I did World War II reenacting, I predominantly did it with the 29th Division Living History Group, which is, you know, all guys all over Virginia, Maryland, Pennsylvania, as far up as Ohio and some other places like that. And the main reason I did that is because I was born in Bedford, Virginia, which is where the National D-Day Memorial is, because the morning of D-Day, June 6th, 1944, the Company A of the 116th Infantry Regiment of the 29th Division took the most number of casualties, the highest number of casualties per capita of anywhere else in the entire country that day. Like, there are basically more people, a higher percentage of people from the town of Bedford died on D-Day than any other town in America. So that is why the National D-Day Memorial is there. And since I was born in Bedford, that was kind of, I don't know, close to my heart, I suppose. And so when I was looking for a reenacting unit to join, again, many years ago, it seemed like a pretty natural fit. So that's why I'm big into 29th history. I don't do it I'm not nearly as well read up on it as I used to be, but I still have a special place in my heart for the group of guys, not only that I reenacted with, but also the town and the history behind it. So that's why I have those two posters. And then I also have these puzzles that my mother-in-law got me for Christmas this past year. And they are really cool puzzles. They were also both really hard to put together. So I figured once I had them together, might as well glue them together. So I used this Mod Podge craft glue, basically. And these are glued together. So you could pick them up and it's kind of like a big sheet of cardboard almost. So frames to put both of these on the wall. Definitely plan to put at least one of these up in the main house as well. My wife is pretty awesome and she lets me put up some, you know, man cave guy stuff up in the main house, but she likes to keep most of that down here. Stuff like planes and ships and boats and stuff like that, she doesn't mind having up there. So I have a feeling this one will go up there. This one will probably stay down here, but we'll see. So over the years, as I've been working in the construction industry, I was a site foreman for my company for about 6 years, I think, or give or take, maybe slightly less. And we have done a lot of work in old houses in like the historic areas of Richmond, which has inevitably led to, you know, times where we are maybe putting a door in a wall where there didn't used to be a door, or totally removing a wall, which has given me the opportunity to essentially harvest some reclaimed pine studs, generally actual 2-inch by 4-inch studs, or sometimes even bigger than that. I've got a pretty good stash of 3x4s as well. And I have a pretty good stash of ones that I have been saving for probably, I mean, 7-8 years at this point. Like, they have moved with us to like 4 different houses, and I keep moving them because I know one day I'm going to eventually make something out of them. And what better way to use some of them up than making these picture frames? So I was going to make a different piece of furniture, basically kind of a TV cabinet kind of deal. Nothing crazy, just a little shelf to like support a sound bar and hold some technology stuff. But we are going to hold off on that until we do some more renovations upstairs and decide if we actually want to do that or not. But in testing and preparing for that, I had gotten a couple sample pieces out here. So I'm going to show you guys the difference in some of this really old wood that I have. So on the surface, they both look pretty similar. These are both from houses that are built somewhere in the 1920s to 1940s time frame. And at this point, I don't remember which, but they are, you know, traditional rough sawn, you know, and again, these are just pieces, they're not the actual stuff. But from the rough sawn side, they look fairly similar. However, I'm gonna open them up, and you can now see, actually let's do that. You can see that even though this is probably 100-year-old, or we'll even say 80-year-old stud, it looks really similar to the new growth studs that we have nowadays, where the grain is much wider. It doesn't look that much different from if you ripped an old, you know, ripped the new 2x4 in half. However, this one right here looks significantly different. It looks almost like fir because the grain is so close together. Like, this is legitimate old, like an old heart pine 2x4. And this is what we're gonna make that piece of furniture out of. And it's so beautiful, I don't really wanna waste it on some picture frames because I think some of these will do just fine for what I'm trying to do. Been currently storing all of said reclaimed wood down here underneath of my shop. So hopefully you can see, so this stack up here is, these are actual 2x4s, and you can see the wider grain on them. And then this stack down here is still 2x4s, but I think you can see how much tighter the grain is on these. So I've got a decent stash of these. These are all probably 9 foot long, give or take. So basically best stuff that I have, second best, and then these few right here are kind of an intermediate. They're a reasonably tight grain, but kind of big, and I only have 4 of them. And since they're just gonna be picture frames, they're gonna get stained, and they're not gonna be, you know, big, beautiful pieces. I think I'm just gonna stick with using the wider grain ones and keep saving the better ones for something in the future. And I've actually got a pretty good stack right here from a job we are almost done with. These are still, you know, 3x4s essentially that I have not prepped or done anything with yet. Still got all the nails in them that I got to pull. This is a big exterior window stool that's got however many, you know, 100+ years of paint caked on it. So yeah, a good amount more for another project. So it's getting late into the evening on a Sunday right now. I'm not gonna really get into this anymore tonight. One day this week I will go over to my brother's house where we have our big wood shop stuff set up, because I got to run all this stuff through a table saw to not only make it usable, get it down where it's, you know, we've got this side, not the rough sawn side, but also create grooves for the glass and the pictures and everything to sit into. So I'm gonna figure out, basically give myself a cut list based on the size of the glass that I have and pictures that go with them, and figure out how much of this stuff I'm gonna need to make. And then I will see you guys shortly. For you, it'll be a day or two or a few days for me, and we'll get into actually starting to fabricate these picture frames. You're actually gonna have to wait till next time to see the fabrication of the picture frames. As I often do, I realized during the editing process that I filmed more than I thought I did, and so what was supposed to be all one video, I'm gonna go ahead and break up into 2 videos, try and make it more digestible for people. I know that for myself personally, I have no problem watching longer videos, 20 to 30 minute range on YouTube, because I'll just watch them in multiple sittings if I have to. But that's not the case for everybody. So in order to make it more digestible, but also to allow me to put out videos a little bit more regularly, hopefully, going forward, really trying to keep them a little bit on the shorter side when possible, just to be able to put out more content for whoever's out there watching it. So I welcome input if anybody wants to leave a comment about that, but you'll see the next video after this one will be in the wood shop working on fabricating everything. And I also want to go ahead and say that I know I said a few videos ago that I will be putting pancakes or some fashion of pancakes in every video, and that has already not been true, because there's been at least one video since I did that was an old video that I had filmed and didn't really have any practical way of putting pancakes in it, and then I uploaded it after the video where I said I would put pancakes and everything. So here's your pancake shot in this one, but I'm gonna correct the record, or correct my statement, I suppose, and say that I will do my best to put some form of pancakes in every video. But I have a decent amount of footage that I have recorded over the last year, really, that is, you know, projects that are underway and not complete. There's gonna be videos here and there that don't have pancakes in them, but I'm gonna do my best to, Dave, give you pancakes in every video. So don't sue me when you see one occasionally that doesn't have pancakes in it. Nothing I can, well, not nothing I can do about it aside from like flashing a little image of a pancake on screen. Maybe I'll do that once in a while just to keep it interesting. Anyway, all right, I already, you know, spent 3 minutes doing this outro, so come back next time. We'll keep working on picture frames. See you then.